All right, so the 22nd episode of BB22, the second season of All Stars. Finally, we get to this episode. I've been looking forward to finding out who the neighbor is this whole week, but yeah, so unfortunately, there's still so much talk about last week and the vote, and it's just like, it already happened. We're on this week, somebody's going home, so let's shift the focus. I do get, however, that Day and Kevin are, they were screwed over, so they're like, who did it? But I feel like we've been on this for a while, and Ian is living rent-free in everyone's minds. Just that power. I really feel for Day. She's gonna be showered with love after this. It's sad to see her feel like she's letting people down, that she feels like she's not being herself, that she's not standing for what she wants. It's just, just like everybody that's already left, in a difficult situation where there's not really much she can do. This has all been, what that big alliance wants, and they have been getting their way because they have been in power this whole time. I wish things were different, but unfortunately, these are the cards that she has been dealt and we have been dealt. Christmas's little jingle sounded different this episode. It wasn't as bubbly and happy. So now Kevin is thinking that Nicole was the one that flipped and David voted with them. It's like, yes, Kevin, that is right. Like, Day went into it in the DR, which I'm glad that they showed it, why she believes Nicole and doesn't believe David. David, of course, lying about that power, and just the way he played the game in the beginning, it leads people to not believe him. And, Day and him do not get along. They do not see eye to eye. And Day says that her and Nicole, they're cool now. She doesn't think Nicole would do her dirty. But yeah, we see at the end of this episode that Day is not happy with Nicole. And if I were Day, I wouldn't be happy either. She was upfront with Nicole about being honest and, okay, Nicole, tell me, did you flip? Like, I'm not gonna be mad, just tell me the truth, so I'm not, bashing David when he's actually being truthful. And Nicole didn't, because Nicole's scared. Nicole plays a very, she doesn't want to deal with that, so she's scared that it's gonna blow up her game, which I get it, but I can't see them being okay. Like, I would love for Nicole to be trapped in that jury house with Day and Ian. That would just be so awesome. She'd be so scared. She'd be like begging not to go. They showed Memphis's Wise Guy Alliance. He has 2 final 3s and they're both named the Wise Guys. It's just version 1 and version 2. I'm just like, is anybody really, like, I know Memphis has pissed people off, but is anybody really targeting him? I feel like he has a good chance of making it far. I don't know if he will win over the jury, because I don't think he really thinks much about jury management, to be honest. But what a season this would be. It ends with a Memphis win. At least Dan will be happy. We learn that Christmas is still loyal to Tyler. They still have that final 2, and she's sticking with it, but she's still forming other alliances to secure her place in the house. Obviously, if somebody comes to you with an alliance, you say yes. You don't say, let me think about it, So she was portrayed really smart this episode onto the whole Danny, Nicole, and Day situation. From what I've noticed, there's been multiple people trying to win over David to have that number, and it seems like Christmas won him over. She was talking to him, and this exchange of information and reeling him in, and he's all for it. Obviously, he's a lone wolf, so he has to take what he can get. So Day gave a really powerful speech. It was really long. However, Kevin had to do a shorter speech. I found it interesting that Day mentioned jury management and Nicole and how she stabbed her in the front, not the back. And I'm curious to see, you know, after all of this, how she feels, because I think Nicole definitely setting them up and voting out Ian is stabbing her in the back. So Nicole and Danny both voted out Kevin, and they did this for Day. There's all this talk about them having something with Day, and now that talk is going to continue. I don't know if they're trying to pin it on somebody. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with all of that. But yeah, they didn't vote with the house. So Day got evicted as expected. Her ear almost got ripped off on her earring because of Nicole. So not only did Nicole lie about the vote, she also almost ripped off Day's ear. They did Day really dirty in one of those pictures on the wall. It was like an action shot. I was like, in the goodbye messages, Tyler came clean. Same thing he did to Ian. He did the same thing for Davon. He named names, and that's very good jury management, which is important when you get to this point. Nicole also came clean. She came clean about the vote, came clean about everything. And Dave's just like nodding, and you could see she's like, yeah. It's interesting to me how Julie interacts differently with certain house guests. I'm not saying she wasn't excited to see Davon, but I think she was. But you could see how she has more of a connection with certain house guests. Janelle, I feel like her and Janelle are like best friends. She was really excited to see Ian. I felt like she was like fangirling over him. She was excited for Kaysar. I guess it also depends on the mood and the time that they have. I think that also plays a role if they're overtime or whatever. So yeah, maybe she was just being careful what she was saying because jury, so it could be that as well. I know when Day was speaking and Julie's just like nodding, and then she's like, okay, Ian's waiting for you in the jury house. All right, so the BB Legend was announced, and thank you, Big Brother, for not disappointing. We got a true BB Legend, the king, Dr. Will Kirby. I love Dr. Will. You know, my little crush came back right when he appeared on my screen. Yeah, even though he's older, he still has that Will Kirby charm. I wish Janelle was still in the house at this point. I was totally for the little flirtmance in the first BB All-Stars, so would have been interesting, but yeah. Of course, he came in to announce this crazy twist. 3 people will be evicted on Thursday. So yeah, you know, 1 person from this big alliance has to go home. So at least we'll get that. I hope it's more, at least 2, because yeah, Danny did use her power for Memphis to play in the HOH. So I guess it didn't go to waste. Wednesday will be OTEV. I love OTEV. A lot of people love OTEV. It's just a staple at this point, and it's really exciting to watch. So we'll see how that goes. I would love to play OTEV. That would be so much fun. At the end of this episode, they were like showing this little thing between Danny and Cody. I don't know what happened there. I think they had like a little fight. I no clue, but it's like, what are we looking at? So Cody won the HOH. It was apparently one of those ball ones hitting a target or something, and he won, and he, you know, plans to nominate David and Kevin. Big surprise. So one of them will likely go home, and then when it comes down to the 2 other people, one of them I would assume would have to be Danny or Nicole, you know, maybe even Tyler as well. Christmas, like, there's options, but I think, you know, Kevin will go home, and then likely David will also go home. So I guess we'll see how this all plays out, but really hoping we get at least 2 people from this big alliance out. As for have-nots, Enzo and Kevin are have-nots. Enzo volunteered for Cody to pick him, and Christmas chose Kevin. Kevin didn't get a heads up, and he was a little peeved about that. So yeah, that's all I have. Let me know your thoughts on the episode, on the BB Legend, and what's going on, and what do you expect to happen this week? What do you want to happen this week? So that's it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.